believe me, we've had a whole lot of people turn us down for exactly that reason. And so the fact that they are willing to get up and stand up and speak out for secular individuals and for a more reason-based society, that's big. That's a really, really big statement, particularly in the hip-hop community, which really tends to be a very religious environment.
It does indeed, and I'll chime in, like you said. I'm listening to the songs, and sometimes I have to go over them a few times, not because it's hard to understand the lyrics. They're very clear. That's a nice thing for someone getting to be my age. It gets a little harder to hear the lyrics, but because they're so thoughtful that I have to go through it and really try to process and understand it. So I am very much looking forward to it. Unfortunately for me, at some point, I may have to leave right before the concert ends because after the talks, there's some parties, right?
Oh, yes, that's absolutely right. We understand that people are going to want to keep the party going after we have to get off of the Lincoln Memorial property. And so we've set up 2 after-party locations based around where we have 2 of our hotel blocks, which, by the way, rooms in our hotel blocks are selling very quickly. So if you want to take advantage of the awesome discounts we have on hotel rooms, go to reasonrally.org and book your room this week. And regardless of whether your hotel room is in the Crystal City block or in the DC Capitol Hill block, we have an after party for you. We've got one at the Hyatt Regency Capitol Hill for everyone in the DC area, and we have one at the Hyatt Regency Crystal City for everyone in the Crystal City area.
And I heard the Crystal City one was going to be the best.
I think it's going to be the best. I mean, because you're going to be there.
I'm going to be there. And just for people who don't know, it's currently scheduled from 8 until 1, because the Reason Rally ends at 7, theoretically. That's right. And the party starts at 8. So you get out of the Reason Rally, you hustle back over to Crystal City, Hyatt Regency Crystal City. At 8 o'clock, it starts up. We're probably going to have some snacks, hors d'oeuvres, a little finger food. And then we're going to have 2 bands back-to-back. And then somewhere around 10 p.m., the DJ, that's me, Phil Ferguson, is going to play music from 10 until 1 in the morning.
It's going to be a really, really fantastic event. I'm gonna sell your event a little more here, Phil. You have one of my favorite bands actually performing at your after party.
I don't even know who they are. Who are the bands?
Well, one of them is still secret from me because the event organizer hasn't told me yet, but the other one is a band out of San Diego called Monster on Sunday, and they are a hardline atheist group that's been doing some really, really great work. They're a really talented band, and we're really excited to have them as part of this event so that they can get a little more traction in the secular community and get some recognition for the work they're doing.
Well, that is great. Now, I know, going back to speakers, that this list just keeps going on. And we're going to have Victor, my buddy Victor Harris is going to give a talk, and he's the DJ at the other party.
That's right. That's right. We're trying to mirror the 2 parties as much as we can, so wherever you are, you'll have a really fantastic experience, and you don't feel like you have to cross town because, the other party is going to be better. They're both going to be awesome parties. And
I'm just scrolling through here. We have Margaret Cho.
That's right, comedian.
Amber Heard.
Yes, an actress who just landed the role of Queen Mara in the upcoming Aquaman movie.
Whoa. That'd be kind of cool.
How'd you miss that one?
Yeah, I am not the pop culture aficionado. So a friend of mine, Cara Santa Maria, Lawrence Krauss, and Julia Sweeney. And by the way, her monologue, Letting Go of God, was the straw that broke religion's back for my son.
Really?
Yeah, it was one of those things that when he was like 14 or 15, I asked him if he could remember how he got out of religion, what was the thing, because we brought up the kids as fundamentalist Christians. That's another story for another time. But I knew he was working his way out, and he said that he had all kinds of doubts and questions. And that car ride where we had 2 hours together, it was me and him and my daughter, and when Letting Go of God finished, something clicked in his head and said, I now know this is all bullshit.
Right on.
And
right on.
The even cooler thing is I got to tell that story to Julia Sweeney.
Oh, I'm sure she loved that. She is such a fantastically warm-hearted person.
She was sure nice. So she either really, really loved my story because she laughed, or she's a hell of an actress.
Well,
maybe she's both.
I mean, she's a pretty good actress, but she's also a really, really wonderful person. So I'm gonna vote for the former.
There you go. And we have Penn Jillette.
We do have Penn Jillette. He's got something very exciting that I can't disclose yet, but his performance is going to feature something that we have not had at a Reason Rally before. And well, I'm not going to say anything more about it. It's going to be very exciting.
What have we not had before? Full frontal nudity? I mean,
no.
Okay,
this is a family-friendly show.
Dispel that. And of course, my good friend Shelley Siegel.
Of course, she's performing with a full band on the main stage this year, and now I'm going to outsell your party, Phil, because Shelley Siegel is actually going to be one of the bands performing at the DC Capitol Hill after party. So if you had doubts that these are going to be two really, really awesome events after the Reason Rally, you're wrong, and you should sign up for one of them today because they're both going to be awesome.
And while we're talking about music on the main stage, we are also going to have the Gay Men's Chorus of DC.
That's right. We have the Washington, D.C. Gay Men's Chorus welcoming us to the stage, which we're very excited about, in part because of the fantastic work the secular community has been doing on LGBT issues over the last few years, but also because this is a really, really great welcome from the D.C. community itself, bringing us into their city and welcoming the secular community as part of our national political scene.
And one last musical act, and before I'd say who they are, I remember when I first got involved about 5-6 months ago, you asked me, hey, Phil, what bands would you like to have? Do you remember this conversation?
I don't remember this conversation.
And I gave you 2 suggestions. The first one was Green Day. I thought Green Day is very, very heretical and very anti-religion.
This is true.
Fantastic. And the other one I said, well, you know what? If you're going to ask me for anything that I want the Beatles.
I have some good news for you, Phil.
What is that news, Liz? You're bringing the Beatles?
We're doing the closest thing we can. We're bringing in one of the best Beatles cover bands in the country, a group called the Fab Four, to perform an in-costume Beatles replica show in the middle of the Saturday program for us. So they're going to do a whole group of songs, including, of course, John Lennon's Imagine. They're going to do a rendition of Hey Jude, and then they're going to fill in the rest of the program with just great Beatles classics that we all know and love. It's going to be a fantastic show that gets us all warm and fuzzy and holding hands.
Well, Liz, can you hear this sound?
I can hear that sound.
That is a Jewel box with a Fab Four CD inside of it.
Is it really? Oh, you've got one.
Yeah, we have seen them live in Chicago in the past, and I've bought a couple of their CDs because they're that good. It's kind of haunting how good they've mastered the Beatles sound.
Yeah, and the image and the look and the feel of it. They do a great show, and this is going to be a really, really exciting piece of this program.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, well, I'm just scrolling, and anyone who wants to go look at this, it's reasonrally.org/speakers.
That's right.
How many are on this page now?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. Probably around 35. You know, I had a dare the other day that I wish I had enough time to do, to take all of our speakers' names and put them together into an Animaniacs-style song, just rattling them all off. And if I had a little bit more free time, I would do that because it sounds like a great challenge.
I'm thinking the number is about 45.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you do something like count?
Well, yeah, I counted. Well, I saw that there was 15 rows and 3 columns, so I did
math.
Yeah. James Randi.
That's right.
John Davidson.
John Davidson is, I hate to play favorites because I have such a great lineup of speakers with this event, but John Davidson has just been a delight for us to work with. You know, he's been involved in the secular community before with Openly Secular. It sounds like you did not know that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize there was a response needed.
I have caught Phil speechless. Yes. Record this moment for all eternity. So John Davidson has been really great with the secular community. He discovered us through the Openly Secular campaign and got involved in that program. He's been a really strong advocate and ambassador for secular values and secular identity there. He has since then gotten to be part of the Reason Rally main stage lineup. He'll be emceeing our stage for a little while in the afternoon, as well as delivering a brief talk. And he is just a fantastic representative for being a secular person, just because of where he comes from. With his background, he was the host of the television show Hollywood Squares for decades and is in a lot of ways the poster child for white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, squeaky clean America's good boy. And now in his 70s, he's still performing. He's a great guy with a guitar. And he came to us and said, look, I'm an atheist, and I think that's important to say because nobody's out there saying it.
Oh, I love it. I just keep scrolling here. Paul Provenza.
Paul Provenza, yes.
And we have Cy Babe.
Yes, she has been fantastic. She's got such a great message about reason and putting reason into public policy.
And she had a very fun video where she drank homeopathic treatments that contained huge amounts of alcohol. That was pretty funny.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Keith Lowell Jensen, a comedian. Eugenie Scott.
Eugenie Scott, yes, the former president of the National Center for Science Education, another tremendous advocate for reason in our public policy, particularly around educational areas. So teaching evolution in schools, raising awareness about climate change. She's just a fantastic activist, and we're very lucky to have her.
Well, just Miriam Namazi, Baba Brinkman, who's another rapper who does science-based rap.
That's right.
And Q.
John Delancey himself. Yes, we are bringing in one of the best examples of exploring godlike mythology in popular culture.
And I'm just going to round us out here, and then we're going to finish up our first segment. We got Leanne Lord, a comedian. She also is a co-host with, what's that guy's name?
You are asking me the wrong.
No, the astrophysicist in New York.
Oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, that's him. David Silverman.
Of course.
J.T. Eberhard, Todd Stiefel, Eddie Tabaj. Now, here's someone who's been fighting separation of church and state and religion for a long time. A
good long time, yes. He was long involved in the movement when I came along.
So anyone wants to go check this out again, it's reasonrally.org/speakers. Apparently there's 45, and that includes the group shot with the Beatles. Lots of, and of course the entire Gay Men's Chorus of Washington, D.C. They're going to count as one for the purposes of this 45. But let's do a little quick commercial break, and then we'll come back and we have many more things to talk about.
You bet.
This is Phil Ferguson with Polaris Financial Planning, the home of science-based investing. I see people owning really bad investments all of the time. Many advisors are paid a commission by a big company to sell you something you may not need. It's kind of like church. They create fear, then they tell you what you want to hear, and then they take your money. What you want is an advisor that is paid only by you. That is a fee-only fiduciary advisor. Remember, people work for who they are paid by. You can contact me, Phil, at PolarisFinancialPlanning.com, or listen to the cleverly titled The Phil Ferguson Show. Each show, we have an interesting investing skeptically topic and an interview with someone fighting to end religion. Polaris also gives 10% of gross revenue to support the growing secular movement. You're not just getting better investments, you're helping to change the world.
Only on Secular Media Network.
All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Phil Ferguson, and you are still listening to The Phil Ferguson Show. With me is Liz Liddell, longtime friend and executive director for the Reason Rally, doing a bang-up job. And before the break, we were talking about speakers, and we did throw in a little bit about hotels. Remind us again about the hotels and how do we book a hotel?
Sure. We've got great rates at 6 different hotels in the Washington, D.C. area, close by the Lincoln Memorial. If you'd like to book one of these fantastically well-priced rooms, starting at $99 a month. What am I saying? $99 a night. I'm sorry, they're not quite that good. You can go to reasonrally.org, and we actually have all of our hotels listed on the front page. Just scroll down just past the fold, and you'll see the list of hotels. You can pick which one you'd like to be at. We have events at almost every hotel that's on that list. We've got shuttle transportation from your hotel to the National Mall for the rally itself. So pick the hotel that's going to be the best fit for you, and it's going to work out well for the rally no matter where you're staying.
Well, I mean, we've got Hyatts, we've got Sheratons, we've got Marriotts. These are not, these are not $49 hotels. These are really quality hotels in